Aloha, welcome everybody. I'm so excited to be reconnecting with you for today's podcast. My name is Paul Fletcher and this is The Healing Source. We are into season number 9, podcast, 67, 68, something like that. And this new season was started last week when we started talking about the nature, power, and the significance of your spiritual channels. And today, what I'm going to be focusing on is more on the nuts and bolts of your spiritual channels. How to set the foundation so that not only can you open your spiritual channels, but how you can sustain them, how you can learn to work with them, and they can become a natural part of your being. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with me and Tao healing, everything that we do here, you will hear the word Tao healing quite a bit in this conversation. Tao is not a religion. Taoism, of course, is, but Tao is simply a word that means source. Okay, so Tao healing and all things that I speak of here is referred to as source. And I have a teacher. His name is Dr. and Master Sha. And I've trained with Master Sha for over 15 years now. And when I first came to him, I had already trained with 2 enlightened masters, albeit at that time, I knew that they were advanced beings. I knew that they had capabilities and abilities that I did not have. But honestly, I had no clue how to define an enlightened person at that time. It was only after working with Master Sha that I was able to clearly understand the nature of an enlightened being and how they serve humanity. And I can tell you that Master Sha is an enlightened being dedicated to serve humanity. One of the wonderful attributes that I noticed in working with Master Sha is he trained his teachers to have very active, powerful, clear spiritual channels. And my first experience of that was in 2008, October of 2008, when I went to an event on the big island of Hawaii, and I witnessed him doing quite a few spiritual healing services. And when he would do a healing service, he would always ask the person who received what their results were. So it wasn't something where he would just do something and the person would be pulled off stage and you never knew the results. He would actually interview that person. We would find out what the results were. But most of us couldn't see anything because it was an energetic healing. And as a result of that, we had, without his interviewing of that person, without the spiritual channels open of his top teachers and them explaining what happened, because they could check in with the history of the Akashic records of that person. They could see what was the originating source cause of that person's suffering. When the healing was delivered, they could see what was happening at the heavenly levels. Their third eyes were open, and they could describe, like watching a video, what was being removed from this person's vibration, from this person's soul or auric field, if you will. And when you start realizing active and real, but can be mapped, it can be seen, it can be comprehended through the spiritual channels, it gives you a whole new appreciation and understanding of the nature, power, and significance of spiritual channels. So this was my first experience of it, was watching Master Sha offering healing where people had severe and significant suffering, measurable, in the moment, measurable suffering, and he would connect to the source and be a channel through which that healing frequency and light would come through. And then that person's discomfort or measurable imbalance could be again measured with a significant measurable difference. Sometimes you could see people's pain on their face coming off their face, and they were smiling for the first time for years. They would tell you this. During this first retreat, Master Sha had trained 10 of his top teachers. One of them, the youngest of them, had been training with him for about 3 or 4 years, and the one that had been with him the longest at that time had been with him, training with him about 12 years. And so these teachers individually were called upon at different times during different healings to explain either what they saw through their spiritual eye, their third eye, or they would be called upon to do what's called a soul reading, which is connecting to the record of what transpired. One of the things I learned on the spiritual journey is everything we hear, everything we think, and everything we say is recorded. And that also goes for when an energy healing is transmitted to another, there is a record of what is released in that healing. So in these soul readings, his top teachers would say, they would give a description of what was the original root cause. They would say something like, I've accessed the Akashic record for this individual, and I see many, many souls that had been harmed in previous time, both by him and his ancestors. And this is how it would sound. They would go on to say things like, I can see that in a previous time that he had done ABC to many different people, and this created a negative message on his vibration, on his soul's record in heaven, which is stored at the Akashic records. They would then go on to say, when Master Sha asked heaven to intervene and to forgive this person, to offer him healing, then what I saw was the letters on the pages where the recordation of the mistakes had been made lifted off, and gold light came down onto the paper, and so that would be one person's description of what they would see with their third eye, or they would read it through their spiritual channels. And then another person he would call up who may have a more active third eye, and he would say, what did you see? And this person would describe, maybe heaven's generals or soldiers or heaven's dragons coming, removing the dark messages that were on his soul, etc., etc. He might then call up another person, and they would have a completely different third eye image, but it would give you more context as to what transpired. And the first time I witnessed this, I was just both in awe and in disbelief, because it was really hard to link the two. It was an energy healing. You can't see it, right? Master Sha says something, waves his hands, chants for a few minutes, and the person's 10 out of 10 scale pain goes down to a 1 or a 0, and you believe them, especially I talked to them afterwards, I believed them, it was authentic, but you can't see it. And so you're witnessing his top teachers explain what happened, and you want to believe that, but you don't know if it's real. And then you're witnessing the top teachers telling you what they witnessed in their third eye, and you'd like to believe that, but you don't know if it's real. And so in my first time experience with this teacher for a 10-day retreat, I saw probably no less than 30 or 40 of those examples, with 30 or 40 different people receiving healing or blessings of some kind. And then I did receive healing transmissions myself. And at that time, during that retreat, I signed up for much of what I may be talking to you about today. I signed up for opening my spiritual channels, and I took classes and I took courses. And that included developing your foundational energy centers. Because what I came to learn at that initial retreat with Dr. and Master Sha is that all humanity, all human beings are built the same. We all have souls, we all have spiritual channels. Our spiritual channels are equivalent across the board. We all have the same ones. We all have organs and systems the same. We're basically built the same. And yet some of us can see with our third eye and some of us cannot. So even though we all come with those same capabilities, the ability to work with them and to connect with them and receive the necessary messages and information, visions, etc., requires access to those channels that very often are latent in our vibration. In other words, they came with us, but they're not always accessible. It's kind of like accessing some of the secret files in a computer. They've been there the whole time, but you can only access them when you know how. And so one of the things that I started training with Dr. and Master Sha and his top teachers, who, by the way, got to that high level of ability by doing the things I'm going to be sharing with you. Okay? So if you want to achieve a high level of ability with opening your spiritual channels, there's no shortcuts. There isn't any shortcuts. You have to do the work. And the work is clearing all of the negative information, energy, and matter on your vibration, on your soul. This includes clearing blockages in your chakras. This includes expanding and enhancing your energy centers. This includes releasing and asking for forgiveness for any mistakes that you might have made on your soul journey, because all of these can negatively impact the ability or inability of your spiritual channels to develop. Now, I will go over in the next 4 sessions, next 4 podcasts, the 4 different major channels that I was taught. They are called the Soul Language Channel, the Divine Direct Communication Channel, the Third Eye Channel, and the Direct Knowing Channel. And these 4 channels, all have a different function and purpose. They all work in harmony, but they have different pathways within the body, which I will share with you, and there are different ways to activate them. Okay? Now, clearly, 4 half-hour sessions is not going to give you all of the meat on the bone that is necessary to truly highly develop these spiritual channels. But it will wet your whistle to understand quite a bit more about the nature, power, and significance of them and how to activate them. And if you do practice with what is shared, it will absolutely make a positive effect. And from there, you can choose to go further down the spiritual road of awakening them with myself or other master teachers who can transmit light transmissions to your energy centers or chakras or third eye or whatever it might be, and further help them to develop. So those things are available to further clear the blockages I spoke about, but those are something that we'll talk about a little bit later on. So let's set a foundation, shall we? The way I was taught originally was that, and it's still the same, is that there are 3 foundational energy centers. There are 5 that I will speak of, but there are 3 that are spoken of as foundational energy centers. So I'm going to share with you the image of them now. You see here that from the top down, they're referred to as the upper Dantian and the Zhu Chao, the middle Dantian and the lower Dantian, and then you see on the bottom, you see Snow Mountain area. Now this picture is about a 20-year-old image, and this was the ancient way it was taught many years ago. But what you'll come to discover is that these images don't represent the exactness of what I'm going to be sharing with you over the next couple of weeks. For example, the Snow Mountain area on the bottom of the picture. You can see that it is located, we describe it as approximately, if you put your finger on your belly button and drew an invisible line straight back to that dip in your back, you go back 2/3 of the way, not all the way back, and then you drop down about 2.5 inches. This would be the center of this area that you might better know as the Kundalini area. So the Kundalini is a yogic term for the Snow Mountain area. Snow Mountain is a Buddhist term for the same area. If you were in Taoist traditions, they would call it the Golden Urn. But this area is one of the key and important areas for developing energy, stamina, vitality, immunity, and your third eye. A lot of people don't know that. Now you do. One of the other energy centers here is called the lower Dantian. And this verbiage does remain the same, although the upper 2 I'll tell you about are not the same. The lower Dantian is a core and key energy center. If you, it's called a postnatal, meaning after birth energy center. And when we empower this energy center, you have the benefits are life-changing. Okay, there are people that work with this practice every day, and their energy gets more, better, and their exhaustion just goes away. So when you practice with the lower dantian, you can expect your energy to stabilize, and in terms of your spiritual channels, it will significantly improve the accuracy of them. Now, there are many, many associations with the lower dantian. First of all, if you did any martial arts, you would have heard of this terminology because that is where you are gathering your chi. Okay? If you do any of the energy practices like Tai Chi or Qi Gong, this is also where you gather the life force, frequency, and vibration. Okay, those people in the park that are moving in those rhythmic, melodic circles, if you pay attention to their palms and where their palms are facing, they almost always end up at the lower dantian. This prenatal energy center must be recharged. Think of it as a battery that has to be recharged. Whereas the Kundalini, or Snow Mountain area that I just described to you, is a postnatal energy center. Excuse me, prenatal. I'm screwing up my own verbiage. The lower dantian is postnatal, after birth. The Kundalini Snow Mountain area is prenatal, before birth. So it is literally enhanced with your ancestral energy upon your birth. And this area, when enhanced, can significantly increase the empowerment to your kidneys, which further enhances your energy and vibration. When it is enhanced properly, the chi, the life force, frequency, and vibration goes up your spinal cord through 2 invisible holes up into your third eye. More on that when we get to that section of the course. And it is very, very important as well for your brain health and brain wellness. Now, in terms of your spiritual channels, when you boost your lower dantian and your kundalini and your third one, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, on a consistent basis, all three like a triangle, you build what's called your foundational energy. Not only will you feel better on a moment-to-moment and day-to-day basis, you will start clearing what would otherwise create blockages in your ability to receive pure, clear information from the soul world. You see, the soul world communicates through your soul and the channels that are already within your soul, albeit probably a little bit latent in your soul. And those channels run through both your chakras and these energy centers I've been pointing out to you. Okay? So when we get to explaining where those channels are, you'll understand more. When you clear the blockages in these areas by doing the practices, which we will do today, not a lot of them, but some, you will discover that the ability to hear a pure message will be much easier. One of the fastest ways to accomplish that is by boosting power to the heart chakra, what in this ancient image is referred to as the middle dantian. Now, more commonly it is referred to as the heart chakra. In Master Sha's wisdom, he refers to it as the message center. Now stop and think about that a minute. Message center. It's the center you receive messages in. That's why it's called the message center. Now colloquially, everyone else knows it as the heart chakra. Ooh, my heart chakra has been purified and cleansed. Ooh, ah. Well, the heart chakra can go through a lot of change. It can go through a lot of trauma. It can go through a lot of joy and awakening. The more open and awake and trauma-free your heart chakra is, the clearer the messages that come into your center for messages, your message center. Okay? So one of the core practices for the message center is releasing through the forgiveness practice. Tell you that it's almost impossible to cover in this very short podcast the depth of wisdom that was learned over many, many years and the series of unique and different practices that were revealed over many, many years. But in as best I can, in a condensed manner, I can tell you that if you have had a difficult life, difficult relationships, lots of trauma, maybe you were abused, right? It's a very high probability that everybody listening to this on their spiritual journey has all the above, Okay? Because this particular lifetime, humanity is going through a massive shift. We're going from darkness to light. And it's happening in this lifetime, in this era. Because of that, there is an accelerated pace of suffering that is occurring for you and for almost all of humanity, because we are removing the old, removing the darkness, bringing forth the light. And as that darkness comes forth, it shows up in the form of struggles, difficulties, hardships, etc. The solution to minimizing those is to work with these energy centers, these foundational energy centers. When you practice 10 to 15 minutes each for these energy centers every day, 30 minutes to 45 minutes every day for these three, what in essence you are doing is you're lightening that karmic load. You're lightening that load of negativity that surfaces almost on a daily basis and brings trouble to you. The negative mindsets, attitudes, beliefs, the rampant emotions that seem hard to control, the low energy. All of that will dissipate and become minimalized when you do these practices. And because you are removing negative debris, the messages that are constantly coming to you via the source, via your own soul, via your heaven's teams, guides, angels, and saints, can now be heard with greater clarity. The vast majority of us, up until, let's say, the age of 35, 40, are a bit lost in the sauce of this world, trying to figure out how to navigate making money, dealing with health issues, dealing with the job, dealing with the boss, dealing with relationships. And we're doing that at the mental, emotional level. We are not trying to resolve those multitude of issues at the spiritual soul level. And as we awaken to our soul journey, the ideal is to move to resolving your life-based issues. Instead of at the mental emotional level, you start resolving them at the soul level. And you do that by utilizing your spiritual channels. So let's go ahead and start working with some practices here. Now I do want to mention that I have already done on this podcast and on my YouTube channel practices for each of these energy centers, long practices, which I recommend you do. Okay, today we're only going to get about 3 minutes for each center. Not long enough to cause much of a shift, but I'll be going way past my half hour in this podcast just to fit that in. The purpose is to give you examples of how you can get started. Now, in terms of practicing for the third eye and the Zhu Chao, I'm going to touch more on that next week. Or maybe I will wait till that until I get to the third eye channel. Probably makes more sense to go into more detail there. Okay? So, what do we do? Well, the lower dantian is in your lower abdomen, about 1.5 inches below your belly button, and about 2.5 inches inside the body. You can see that again by the image that is there. And what we want to do is employ the 4-power technique, gathering light into this area. Now, light can come from many sources. It can come from divine, your creator. It can come from your heaven's teams. If you have any downloads, treasures, and light balls, you can activate those and bless that area. You can simply ask Mother Earth to bless you. Light can come from many sources. And we're going to gather that light in this energy center, in the Kundalini, and in the heart chakra. Okay? So let us go ahead and do this for a few minutes. Repeat after me. First of all, let's put your hand up, your left hand. We're going to grip your right thumb, and then you're going to roll your left hand over your right hand. So again, you're gripping your right thumb. You're gripping your left thumb with your right hand. You're rolling your palm over it, and then you're going to rest your knuckle in your belly button. For those that are listening on podcast, hopefully I described that well. You're going to close your eyes and visualize a golden light about 2 inches around, about 1.5 inches below your belly button, and about 2.5 inches inside your body. This is called your lower dantian. We're going to chant the sound power Jo, Z-H-O-E, or Z-H-O-U, Jo, and this sound power vibrates the lower abdomen. Okay, close your eyes, see light coming in, let us begin. Jo, 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 jo. Faster. Jo, 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 jo. As you're chanting, see the light flashing in. Jo, 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 jo. Jo, 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 jo. And see light and chant. Light, 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 light. Light, 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 light. Now, go ahead and pause for a minute. Open your eyes. Clearly, there will be no effect of 1 minute of doing that. And some of you might be listening to this for the first time on this podcast going, really? Close my eyes and chant Jo, 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 light, 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 and that's going to help me. The answer is yes, if you do it properly. You hold the hand power position I gave you is body power. The visualization assists in bringing in the light. You want to call forth, dear God, could you please bless me? Dear Jesus, dear Buddha, whoever you believe, could you please bless me? They didn't get in their position accidentally. They have plenty of light to share. Dear Mother Earth, could you bless me? That's called soul power. You call them all in. And then when you chant the vibration, that's sound power. Jo, Jo, Jo is a sound power. It vibrates the area. We want you to condense your light in this area. This is the ancient practice that they have done literally for thousands and thousands of years. And you are getting this wisdom in a very condensed period right now. So it's not a question if it works. It's only a question of when it works and how much effort you put into it. This is why it's recommended 10 to 15 minutes each energy center doing exactly what I'm showing you. Unfortunately, this is a short podcast. So we're going to repeat this now for the Kundalini Snow Mountain area. You're going to put your left hand out. You're going to grip your left thumb with your right hand. Close your hand over it. And now you're going to repeat that behind your back, okay? So do that behind your back. Your palm will naturally rest on the chair or whatever you're sitting on behind you. And of course you would have your back away from the back of that chair. And you're going to close your eyes and you're going to visualize from your belly button, go back, straight back 2/3 of the way and drop down about 2.5 inches inside the back half of your body. And you're going to see the light coming in this area. Repeat after me. Dear my source creator, dear all of my Shifus and heaven's teams, all my guides, angels, and saints, I love you. Could you please bless my Kundalini Snow Mountain area? Thank you. And then visualize the light coming in. We're going to chant Jo, Jo, Jo again. Let us begin. Jo, 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 Jo. Jo, 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 Jo. Faster. And when I say faster, see the light coming in faster and see it condensing and getting brighter. Jo, 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 Jo. Jo, 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 Jo. Light, 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 light. See the light, see the light. Condense the light, condense the light. Light, 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 light. Now, as you're gathering the light, you're going to visualize. You do this 5-10 minutes and you visualize sending light up the spinal cord. It initiates in this back half of the abdomen, but see light going up the spinal cord. And then as you continue to practice 5-10 minutes, see the light nourishing your kidneys and then going further up the spinal cord, all the way up into your brain and third eye. Okay? Light, 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 light. You can chant out loud or silently. Ideally, do both. Okay, open your eyes. And again, 1 or 2 minutes of this is not going to create any sort of opening your spiritual channels. 10 to 15 minutes daily will. You will notice increased energy, stamina, vitality, and immunity. You will notice less fogginess and better ability to handle stress. Less fear even will be a natural side effect of doing these practices. Okay? The third energy center is your heart center, your heart chakra. Arguably the single most energy center in the human body. Probably also the least understood. This center can never be worked on enough. If you do this practice every day, 5 times a day, it would not be enough. But if you did, you would definitely enhance the ability to open your spiritual channels, and there's a high probability you would feel a whole lot better about everything in life, because your heart chakra is the repository of virtually all things positive and all things negative. And this includes all the unpleasant memories from early in this life and other ones that you don't know about, and all the positive things in this life. It all resides right here. So our job is to get rid of all the negative stuff and enhance all the positive stuff, and that requires your practice. So again, we employ the 4-power technique. We require the soul power. Dear God, dear Source, all my spiritual fathers and mothers, name them, bump, 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 bump. I love you. Could you please bless my heart chakra, my heart center? If you have light bulbs, downloads, and treasures, turn them on, ask them to bless your heart center. And if you don't, then get hold of me and I will transmit some to you. Got to pay a little bit for that, but it'll save you about 500 lifetimes of working by yourself. Okay, so if you want to save 500 lifetimes of doing what I'm teaching you now, there's a fast way to accelerate this. Okay, so how do you place your hands and what do you do? You have a couple different hand postures. I'm just going to teach you one of them. It's called the soul light hand position. You put your hands just like a prayer, just like almost everybody in humanity is familiar with, and you leave the right hand in the prayer position, and you put the left hand gently cupped directly over your heart center. In other words, the center of your sternum and the center of your palm would in essence be over each other, and your both palms are cupped and relaxed, no stiffness here, okay? This then, it creates what's called a hand mudra, which hand mudras have been used for thousands of years to collect light. So the light comes in the hand that's pointed towards heaven, and then it goes through the left hand that's over your heart center, thereby opening the heart center. This is your hand power position. Your mind visualization or mind power is you see the source light in your heart center. Simply ask the source, which for most of us will look like pure light, to sit in your heart center. Dear God, could you please come sit in my heart center and help me release the traumas, the negative informations, the relationship issues, whatever is you're suffering at that moment in time. Ask the source to come in and help you. Thank you. And then we're going to chant Ah, just like what the doctor taught you when they put the tongue depressor on. Ah. Ah is the sound power for this area. Close your eyes. Let us begin. Ah. Feel the vibration. Expand your chest. Ah. The source light, see it expanding out. Now chant Ah 3 times. Expand the light 3 times. Ah, ah, ah. Ah, ah, ah. Ah, ah, ah. Now, as you go further in this practice, doing it for 10-15 minutes, you can chant Ah, Ya, Yo, Tao. Repeat after me. Ah, Ya, Yo, Tao. 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 A little bit faster. Last round. Ah, Ya, Yo, Tao. 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 Okay, open your eyes. Now that might have some effect for you. That mantra, by the way, Aya Yodao, you don't have to chant it exactly like that. You can chant it any way that comes out, but it's those 4 characters. Okay. This is a very condensed set of wisdom on the necessity of setting the foundation for opening your spiritual channels. I could teach you about what to do to open your spiritual channels, which I will in next week's. Here's the spiritual channels. This is what it is. This is how it works. But you will have little to no effect if you do not consistently set the foundation and clear the blockages that the channels work through. Okay? The more you release the blockages in your lower dantian, which harbors blockages associated with finances, blockages associated with relationships, blockages associated with your energy. The Kundalini, Snow Mountain area, which harbors blockages associated with sexual energy, harbors blockages associated with brain intelligence and brain strength, harbors blockages associated with mistakes in past lives from the ancestors. And the more you clear blockages in your heart center, which we've talked about what's encompassing there, when you clear those through practices like this consistently, then you can easily expect messages from your soul, from the source, from your heavens teams to be much more clear. Intuition becomes much more active. Direct knowing, I just know that this is what I need to do. That will become clear for you. Third eye could pop open. These kinds of things can happen when you set a solid foundation. Okay? There is so much more to be learned on this. So much more wisdom and practice to assist you. I encourage you to go to my website, wellspringoflight.com. Try the membership program. This is where we do these kinds of practices day in and day out. And we give you opportunities to transform relationship, transform your energy blockages, transform whatever's going on for you at the physical, emotional, mental level, financial levels. There's practices for all of that. And the natural side effect is your spiritual channels can further develop and open. You can receive private healing and blessings to further enhance and develop your spiritual channels through me or other certified master teachers. So I hope you enjoyed this. I apologize that it was a little short-ended in the practices, but nevertheless, you take those nuggets and apply it for 10 to 15 minutes each, you will see massive dividends. So until next week, when we start on the first channel, the Soul Language channel, I look forward to seeing you then. Have an awesome day, everybody. Bye-bye.